Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships or at work, not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And a special offer to ImmaLetYouFinish listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/ImmaLetYou, ImmaLetYou. That's better, HELP.com/ImmaLetYou, ImmaLetYou. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
What's up, everybody? It's ImmaLetYouFinish, show number 108 with your host, Courtney Ames, on the Pantheon Podcast Network. You know where we're at. Thank you, guys. It is summer. It is still Leo season. We said we were going on vacation, but a lot has happened, so we're coming back to give you one more show. Then we will see you after Labor Day. Because you know what, kids? We're exhausted. And we want to have a little bit of end of summer moment where we can just say, oh, look, there's the sun. There's the churro lady. There's an icy.
Eric Adams has had all the churro ladies deported. I think what he's doing is Governor Abbott is sending migrants up to New York, and Mayor Adams is putting them on that same bus and sending them down to Texas. This is just a theory I'm going with.
There's just some,
Yeah, please. Yeah, please. Please. Please.
We kept saying it.
Please. Yeah, please. Please. That's all I want to say. Please.
Okay, a strange thing has happened. I'm back in love with Madonna again.
Oh, Can't Jesus Christ. How is that a strange thing?
Well, I don't know. Because, she's been driving me nuts for so long. But at this point, I've just given into it, and I'm like, you know what? Okay. It's just okay. It must be that it's Leo season, and I'm feeling giving. I'm in a giving mood. So I've decided to give my love back to Madonna and be like, you know what, girl? I'm still here with you.
Okay.
So we might have to lift a little bit of the fatwa off of her on the show.
On one person's end. Courtney will be doing the Madonna monologue.
I will. I'll be doing the Madonna monologue. I'll be like, my vagina is brown.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to... on a somewhat more serious note, someone who could actually sing passed away. Why don't you take the talk about the late Miss Newton-John, and then we'll talk about
Olivia Newton-John. I loved Olivia Newton-John. I was obsessed with her when I was young. And this is before Grease. I said it a million times on this show. I grew up listening to country music. So it's like those country songs first, I used to hear in the car with my mom all the time. And to me, she just had the most angelic voice. Listen, there's so many different types of voices. This is why I love music. It's just so many different types of voices. but she really had the only way I could describe her voice is pretty. It was a really pretty voice. And she could sing. To me, she had great songs. It was really weird, she had the issues in the beginning because here she comes, she's doing country music. The albums weren't, she was an outsider there.
Well, I'm saying her first single was a cover of a Dylan song. So, I mean, that's an interesting way to come out of the box, right? To cover Bob Dylan, who obviously is hugely important, but not the guy you cover right off the bat, right?
An English girl raised in Australia, you know what I mean? It's definitely a very, and for years, I thought because she's so, really identified with Australia. I had no idea that she was born in the United Kingdom for years. And then the family moved to Australia when she was like old. Same thing with the Bee Gees. Remember, I think we were talking about them. I had no idea they were born in the UK and moved over to Australia. Because, for certain people, they're so identified with the region. And she really is identified with Australia. And I think I was aware of Australia because of Olivia Newton-John. And just those I was young, young kid in New York. Like I didn't, you see things on the map. But now I was able to see someone who was...
You didn't like koala bears when you were a kid? That's how I discovered it. I wanted a koala bear as a child. I got to say, I did want a koala bear. But I'm sorry, go on about Olivia.
No, I never got to meet her. I have several people who, worked in talent have met her. And listen, you and I both know this. There are a lot of people that people love that are not really good people. And there are a lot of people that people love that are really complicated people. A lot of our heroes are complicated. I never heard anybody say a bad word about Olivia Newton-John. I had to work with her in any kind of capacity, ever. It's like, that's such a rarity in entertainment, really, to have everyone feel like, wow, this actually was a truly, genuinely nice person. So she will be missed, I think that there are a lot of singers that were inspired by her, and you can see by the outpouring of love and especially Australian singers, they really looked up to her. And you just see how a lot of people who sang with her, performed with her, really loved her, and she'll be missed. And I'm going to miss her. But the music lives on. That's a good thing about music. It's here forever.
Okay. On a sort of opposite spectrum in terms of being a songwriter, Lamont Dozier passed away. Lamont Dozier was he was a songwriter and a performing artist on his own right, but he was 1/3 of Dozier Holland Dozier, which was one of two hit-making machines, songwriting and production machines at Motown at its height. And I don't even think we'd have enough time to list every song that this man had a hand in. But if he did nothing else but Bernadette, he would deserve, a Standing in the Shadows of Love, Frida Payne's Band of Gold, which I did not know, and he wrote under a pseudonym. He was also a solo artist in his own right. So, I mean, just... there were many songwriters, house songwriters at Motown. It was very much a factory in the best sense of the word, Smokey Robinson being one of them. But Dozier Holland, I mean, they composed the soundtrack. You think of the Motown sound, you're thinking Dozier
and
Holland.
All those
basically.
Supreme songs,
Right, yeah, Baby Love and Come See About Me. But like I said, for Standing in the Shadows of Love, I mean, it's just good that the Thames, and they wrote for everybody. So that just shows, their ability to sort of inhabit the soul and the direction of each artist. But again, if they did nothing else but Bernadette, they deserve to be just exalted. So he passed away last week as well. Just a remarkable talent, and those songs are a part of the American song canon forever. I mean, just amazing songs. I mean, just amazing that anybody could sing. Even people who can't sing can sing those songs.
I mean,
But thankfully, people who can't sing don't sing those songs. But really, anybody could sing that song and make it those songs because they're just brilliant, brilliant songs. Anyway, and then Issey Miyake, who what they call him, the Prince of Pleats.
I mean, you listen, that man. I became aware of him because in the 80s, I feel like in New York downtown, like Issey Miyake was the uniform. You know what I mean? For a lot of the cool kids, it was the uniform. And Grace Jones had that period of performing, and she'd be wearing all of this very theatrical, very fierce Issey Miyake. And I've seen some pictures of Jean-Paul Basquiat in Issey Miyake. You know, there was definitely that period of New York where he was the man, and that's when I became aware of him. Very important Japanese designer.
And Jody Watley, that plastic that in the "Don't You Want Me,"
the breastplate, yeah,
the thing. You know that I did not know. I just read this that he was. You would think just looking at it, it's just any old turtleneck, but he designed Steve Jobs the turtleneck that Steve Jobs famously was his uniform, because I'd look at it and go, he got picked that up at Sears or whatever. But that's Issey Miyake. I mean, he was one of those in the 80s and 90s when this, or probably late 70s, or when this wave of Japanese designers came who were French influenced, but very avant-garde. And now the stuff that they did is just regular, you know, part of fashion. But yeah, no, like a really innovative. And you know how when something is successful, when you see it duplicated for fast fashion, and his stuff was duplicated. Those pleats, you saw them everywhere. So rest in peace to all three of these people who, in their own way, in varying degrees, you know, changed the culture in many ways. All right, you can talk about Serena because. Well, I mean, this time she is going to do something we said. We talked about, we were so excited of her playing, and then she crashed and burned. So this time she is retiring.
Well, I don't know if it's crash and burn or if it's like, you know, the one thing that's with that we all have in common is time and age is just what it is. And Serena Williams has nothing else to prove. She's decided that this is these last few weeks are it, and then she's transitioning on to other things. Very smart that she let us know that she started a venture capital firm years ago. So I love that her businesswoman Serena hat has always been in place. And, you know, they put that announcement out that she was retiring and sales.
Evolving.
Yes. And well, listen, she wants to have another kid, and she almost died the first time. So I absolutely understand. She said, I do not want to be pregnant and an athlete at the same time again.
How old is she?
Don't want to do 41.
Oh, she better get cracking.
41. Yeah, I think that's the deal. She said that her daughter looked at her and was like, I want a sister. And she's just kind of like, oh.
I just hope she stops doing those migraine ads. I find them just so, it's like, you're Serena Williams. Why are you dragging your kid in front of the camera doing migraine ads?
I will tell you why, because I've had some friends.
But an amazing athlete, obviously.
Well, you know. I have friends who have clients who do some of those ads for like medicine. And usually they use them. I will say that. Usually they use them. And evidently, the checks that they cut are hard to say no to for some people. And because, you know, pharmaceuticals have a lot of money. And and evidently those checks are very like, I would never do this. How much? Wow, my head really hurts today. You know, listen, she's an icon. And, you know, I usually get invited to the U.S. Open, and I go every year. I hope I get to see her one of the days that I'm there. And we love her, and she is a legend. And yes, she was playing in the North Bank Open, and she lost in the second round yesterday. Toronto showed her so much love. And we all love her. And I think that the U.S. Open is going to be really exciting this year because, let's face it, her first ever Grand Slam was the U.S. Open, and New York just loves her. And listen, she's a wonderful lady. I've had dinner with her. I've hung out with her. She's really, really great. I'm very happy for her. And, you know, She, to me, is a female Shaquille O'Neal. She will be even bigger in retirement from her sport than when she was even playing.
But unlike Shaquille, she didn't try rapping, and for that we are thankful.
Full. Well, now he's a DJ.
Of course he is.
Yes, of course. Mistake. Playing all over the world. DJ Diesel.
Yeah.
He plays
move on,
EDM.
Move on. Please move on.
Wait.
Please
No.
on.
I'm sorry. An EDM DJ.
Oh, of course. Sorry. How stupid of me. I should have known. That should have been implied. Ay, Dios mío.
Girl.
Yeah.
Girl. It's like I had a friend of mine who was saying to me during Pride, he said, he was like, I'm booking my Pride gigs. He was like, it's bad enough, I'm really competing with, all these DJs from all over the world. He said, but now I got all these fucking the drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race who are now all like, I'm a DJ, and they're getting these bookings that I'm supposed to get. And I was like, do you feel like you're competing with them? And he was like, for some of these gigs, yeah, it's like, it's crazy now that everybody can have a computer program and I'm a DJ. And I was like, I kind of understand where that would be frustrating. Like, this is your craft. You've been doing it for years. And now, you're going to have to fight for these gigs with somebody who's coming with a built-in audience because they were on television. The life of working in nightlife, honey. It's a dirty, dirty, dirty game.
That's why I don't go out. There's nothing to see. All right, Kevin Durant's an asshole. Next.
Oh my God. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm looking at any team like, well, why would you trade for him? Because I wouldn't give up all my pieces for somebody.
I wouldn't give up my coach.
I don't care how good everybody says he is. Everybody skips the fact that Kevin Durant has played with everybody. He has played with everybody at all the stages of their career. When they were young and hot.
Right.
He doesn't want to be a leader. Because Brooklyn could be his team. He could be like, this is what we're doing. You're asking to fire the coach that you told them to hire.
Right. Who is you? I mean, am I wrong in that Steve Nash is one of the, like, we really like him. He's a good guy type of guy. He's not like like somebody who's problematic. I've never heard anything negative about Steve Nash.
And in the last 2 years, they've had to deal with injuries. You got injured. Kyrie's been injured so much. Then Kyrie wasn't able to play because of that. All of this shit. And it's like, you want somebody to trade away the house for you when you've shown you're not loyal. And two, I think if I was Brooklyn, I'd be like, fine, don't play. You signed last year for 4 years. Are you going to not play for 4 years? Because I'll let you sit for those 4 years. Because then what's your shit going to be? It's like, man. I love that athletes get to have a power in what they want to say and do. But I'm also one of those people who feels like if you make a commitment, at least try to pretend to honor that shit. It's like you made a commitment, you signed on for another 4 years, and now all of a sudden you're like, I want to leave. You signed on for 4 years. Why can't you lead a team? Don't ask them to bring in a coach. They do. Now you want him fired. It's like, dude, part of me loves it because you and I are Knicks fans, and when the Nets were coming and all this shit, everybody was like,
keep it going, guys. Keep it going. Keep it going, Brooklyn.
They're bringing all the funk. You're going to love it.
Keep that same energy, Brooklyn.
Right.
Keep that same energy, Brooklyn.
There's going to be,
twirl yourself into a circle, There's
going to be banners hanging up. There's going to be finals.
Nothing.
And it's like, it has been nothing but drama and dramatic.
Yeah, keep it going,
So
baby.
welcome to New York.
Yeah, I know. Whatever.
And talk to me when y'all got a ring.
Yeah, no, whatever. I mean, he's just annoying at this point. The arrogance of men. You do what I want you to do, or I'm going to leave. I would just go, fine, leave. Here's your check.
Well,
would you like some nachos while you're sitting on the bench?
No,
here,
I have the better part. I'd be like, you're not going anywhere. You just signed up for 4 years, so you can choose to not play, but you can do whatever you want. But we're going to do what we're going to do over here. Right. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, whatever. All right, you can take, Beyonce.
Listen, I think we have to. I think
you have to give her credit. This is a major career achievement.
This is a major achievement.
She's got the Grand Slam, right?
And you always talk about how hard it is for women, over 40. So yes, pop radio, and I have said this a million times on the show, and I don't think people realize it. Pop radio has not been hugely supportive of Beyonce in years. Years. Right. All of the records that you and I talk about, Love on Top, Countdown, things was like, why wasn't that the thing?
Halo.
Halo was a hit. That was it.
But Love on Top and Countdown. Countdown should have been a hit. I mean, there's
what I'm saying? Right.
I love that song.
But for her, she finally has a number one, her first solo number one on the Hot 100 since Single Ladies. That is literally, and her first Break My Soul. Break My Soul was her first top 10 on the on the pop radio chart, and now number one since Sweet Dreams. So this is all the I Am Sasha Fierce album, so I'm happy for her. She has the number one album basically in the world, the number one single in the United States, the number one on the radio chart. It's her first time having that triple. So congratulations, Beyonce. We're happy for you. And
she did it without the gimmicks. That's nice from a marketing. The gimmick, and I'm not disrespecting because she changed, but it's nice to kind of like, maybe the old school way actually works sometimes.
And there was a marketing plan, there was a traditional rollout, and with no visuals.
Yeah.
Not a visual. Yeah. So I like to bring people back to the music. This is music meant to be listened to.
Bring it back to the music, and then you come. Don't do it and I'm not dissing that, but there's something nice about it.
It shows the power of it, right?
Yeah.
Just let people enjoy the music without
thinking about it. And Columbia is like 1, 2, 3. They're just, I don't know.
Columbia is sitting back like, they're just like Harry Styles, Beyonce, Adele, Lil Nas X, the Kid Leroy. They are sitting back just this thing. They're like, Christmas bonuses are going to be...
Somebody gets a bonus. Yeah, you get a bonus. And really.
Christmas bonuses are going to be lit in Columbia.
Yeah. Maybe they hired somebody over the age of 40 to work there.
Something.
You
know what I mean? Something.
All right. So this is like a weird one. All right. So Talib Kweli.
This is a super weird one.
Okay, so Talib Kweli, so you're talking about nice guys. He's a nice guy. I've met him. He's very talented. I mean, he is widely considered one of the best lyricists in terms of contemporary in the last 20 years in hip hop. I mean, Jay-Z famously said, I wish, if truth be told, I'd be, Talib Kweli in one of his songs. And he's a nice guy. I've met him. He's interviewed. He's perfectly nice, blah, 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 blah. But he is not nice on social media. And
I had no idea.
No, he gets a little hoteppy on social media. And a couple of years ago, he got into a back and forth on Twitter, which we all know is not the optimum way to have a discussion.
Did you know about it when it was happening?
Yeah. I remember reading it.
Okay.
I remember reading it. Not that I read Twitter a lot, but I mean, he was just, I would hear about it and then people would, I was reading the comments, people talking about it, because it was like something he would say and then you'd read it like in gossip, stuff,
Right.
So he kind of was having this back and forth with a then 24-year-old young, obviously young Black woman who was a writer and an activist. All right, so we'll first talk about the fact that it's highly inappropriate for a man in his 40s to be even going, like, she's a kid.
24 is an adult. 24 is an adult, though. That's an adult. Like, should you be going back and forth? No, but she is an adult, right? And if she's a writer and an activist, she's an adult. So when we talk about age, it does get tricky when somebody is an adult, right? But it's a 44. Why are you arguing with the 24?
Well, that's my point. Like, you're arguing with someone who's old enough.
Right.
Whatever he was in. Anyway, so it just got very, very nasty, and it was degenerating into insults on his part and just basic sexist, misogynist, hoteppy, bullshit. All these men who are so good on all these issues. It's amazing how misogynist
how quickly they roll. People slide to the lowest level, right?
Right. Because it's only a woman. Anyway, because of all that, he was bumped off of Twitter. Okay.
Permanently.
So, yeah, permanently. So you got to be bad.
Meant it had to be bad. Whatever he was saying.
It had to be bad. I think there was getting to be a level of like, just like, and it was upset. All right. So cut to Jezebel, which is a woman-centric website. Jezebel wrote about what happened. They didn't make anything up. This is factual stuff they were writing about because it was a big deal. He's a major star. This is a big deal. He is now suing Jezebel because he says that the article, now he did lose bookings. He did lose some bookings. He is for $300,000, which really isn't a lot of money, actually, in all things considered. And Jezebel's part of Gawker, and Gawker was also, anyway, he's suing them for emotional distress for writing about something that he did to somebody. So that's why it's weird, because no one is contesting, right? Am I wrong? No one's contesting the basic facts of this story. He was in this thing with this woman. She didn't like it. He was pulled off Twitter at the end. He's angry that someone did a story on it.
Well,
so
the weird part, no, it's very weird. And it seems like, it seems like maybe neither does any lawyer, because he's filed a suit per se for himself. And evidently, who knew, his brother is Jamal Green, who's like a very noted and very well-known constitutional law professor at Columbia University.
No, he's like, Talib is like a super smart. His mom ran Nakuro Books. That was his mom, you know. He's like super smart dude.
So this sounds like, to me, one of those people who are very smart but has no self-awareness to understand them writing about you doing this is not what caused you to lose bookings. You cost you to lose bookings. It was an action. You're a famous person. It was reported on. You were kicked off the platform. Everything you wrote and said to this young woman was clearly there for people to see, and that cost you jobs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a weird one. It's like he's not suing Twitter. He's suing Jezebel. That's what's weird to me, you know?
And it's very odd, and it's very, I don't know. People just, I think people have allowed too much free time in their hands.
Well, yes, that is true. But why
are you filing a suit against somebody who wrote an article about
who wrote the story?
That you did? So clearly he has too much free time on his hands, because that is somebody sitting around being angry, and it's displaced anger. Instead of being able to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I fucked up. It's easier to kind of place that anger someplace else, be like, you caused this to happen to me, as opposed to my actions had consequences.
Well, a woman-run site. I mean, he clearly has an issue with women. You know, they're not the first site to write about it. I didn't read it on Jezebel. I read it other place. So, I mean, you know, men who have an issue with women. Yeah, it's too bad, because he is a nice guy, and it's always, you know, I don't know. I just find it an odd story. And it also happened many years ago. Like, you're the one who's brought it back up again.
The thing. It's like, when did this,
like 3 years ago.
Like, what?
Pre-COVID. For sure, pre-COVID.
Right.
For sure, pre-COVID. So I'm like I had forgotten about it.
I mean, is he feeling like maybe he feels like this is why I'm not getting booked now? But I mean, I
don't know.
There could be a lot of reasons why
if they didn't book every man who treated women like shit,
nobody would be on the road.
Nobody would be on the road. It'd be fucking Melissa Etheridge with a guitar, and I'm sure she's treated women like shit too. I'm sorry.
Allegedly.
No, I'm just saying, you know, like there would be
I'm just going to follow up everything with an allegedly.
I'm saying, I'm sure.
I know.
That's, I get it. But, you know, I'm saying, like, come on, really? Like, oh, this is going to be the one guy who's going to be punished for being a dick? Mm-hmm. I mean, please, you know? I mean, we have people who have been credibly accused of rape who are earning a check, and nobody seems to care, you know? Anyway, so, all right. So you always talk about me don't like people. You don't like Frank Ocean, for sure. You like the first two records. You like Nostalgia Ultra. That's not fair. You like Nostalgia Ultra, which I love, and you like Channel Orange, most of it.
Yeah,
None of Blonde. You don't like
it. It is not that I don't like Frank Ocean. I just don't understand the level of reverence people have. I just don't. Yeah. I don't see it that way. I don't think he's a savior of something. I think his music is fine. but it's never touched me in this way that I see people, the way they talk about him and the way, he's held in such a high regard. And I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. Can somebody just tell me why? Because I think
a lot of it is that he coming out as queer, as a black artist who was working in R&B late, that gave him a lot of, and I do think Nostalgia Ultra was great, but and I do think Channel Orange was really good, and I do think parts of Blonde. But the reason we're talking about him is that he has not made music in a while, and he's got to design a high-end luxury brand called Homer.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's putting a cock rings, and I don't know why anybody cares. Good. People do all sorts of side projects. He's a gay man. He wants to put out, like, anybody's going to pay $25,000 for a cock ring. I mean, yay. I mean, musicians do fashion and weird kind of stuff all the time, right?
I hate cock rings. I've
never come into, I don't know what,
they're not comfortable to me. And it's, well, for the original purpose of them, sometimes this could be fetish. For some people is if you have low blood circulation and you need some help keeping your penis around.
Oh, I get it. It's like a tourniquet.
It's like a tourniquet. It goes, you put your
male member
and the love sack through it, right? So as you get hard, it's around.
Seriously?
Yes, it's at the base, so it's kind of pressed against your body. So it's like, so when it gets hard, it helps to keep the blood and keep that pressure there. So people who might have like any sort of erectile issues, that it can kind of help with that. So, but they're uncomfortable to me. It's a fetish for a lot of people.
All right, which is cool. I mean, so he's making good. Yay. And I have now learned how they work because I had a completely different visual on how they work. And that's all I've always that doesn't sound like it's any fun.
Well, for some people it's
not what you said, what I thought they worked as. I was like, that sounds like the opposite of fun, actually.
And then you have some people who are really turned on by them, have a collection of them and love them. So I'm sure there's somebody who's going to say, I'm going to buy this 25. And they probably won't wear it, but it's one of those pieces that you buy and you have and it's part of your collection.
It's like people are fetishes collecting like Yeezys. What's the difference, Like said, you're never going to wear those damn Yeezys if they cost $25,000. I hope.
I know people who are avid sneaker collectors that have great sneakers that have never touched a foot or the ground.
No, they dead stock them immediately.
They're just hilarious. Like, oh my God, I love these so much. Have you worn them? Well, no.
Yeah, I know. They're like they're NFTs before they were NFTs.
And I'm one of those people who's like, all sneakers are meant to be worn. Like, to me, that's just what it is. They go on my feet and that's it. I don't care.
That's why they're footwear, being the operative. Yeah, I'm like, why did you buy this just to look at it? Like, all right. So James Franco should not be cast in any movie.
It's like...
any movie. I don't care if he's playing a woman. I don't care if he's playing a marshmallow. I don't care. James Franco has been credibly accused of sexual assault multiple times. So there's that. But it's Hollywood, so who cares? So James Franco has been cast to play the role of Fidel Castro in an upcoming movie. John Leguizamo, who I really do love. I love John Leguizamo. I think he's like super talented and cool. And John Leguizamo has been an advocate for Latino art actors to, so you don't have like, like in the person who is not Latino. Like you don't have Natalie Wood playing Maria. You have someone who is Latino. So he has said that this is BS, that James Franco is not Latino, that he is not Cuban. But this is where it gets really, because now everybody is like dig diving. First off, he is an actor, right? I mean, John Leguizamo has played Italians before, right? In Summer of Sam and Super Mario. But so of course, because people have nothing better to do, as you say, they have too much time on their hands. Turns out James Franco is part what do you call it? Portuguese, which is not Latino. I'm not saying he's Latino.
That's European,
but,
right?
Right. But Fidel Castro was Spanish. His family was from Spain. So Fidel Castro is not. Now, many people in many Latin American countries can trace their roots to Spain because, blah, blah, blah. I mean, many. I mean, across the board. It's not like, but that Fidel Castro, by what we would consider a Latino, he is not a Latino. Like Javier Bardem is not Latino. He is European, right? So, what's her face? Salma Hayek, I believe. No, she's Mexican.
She's Mexican.
Mexican and Lebanese. But the point is that, so now it gets like, we're going this granular on it where we're going to do like ancestry DNA before.
I think it's how he presents, right? He's never presented as Latino, and Latino. I mean Latin. And what I do think is
you're talking about
James Franco,
but he's not. That's what I'm saying. He's European,
right? So when these opportunities come along to do something, and you already feel like there's so few leading roles to cast. An actor of any sort of Latin descent, and then it goes to somebody like a James Franco.
Right.
You're like, well, wait a minute. You say that you can't cast us in these different things. Now you're making a movie about a Latin culture, and you could, of all the actors, you're going to go with James Franco. It's like, can we have a shot at least at a movie where you're portraying us?
I think you said the right thing. All right, so Fidel Castro's lineage might not be Latin, but he is certainly representational of Latin American culture.
Yeah.
So while his grandparents or his mom may be from Spain, and he may be European, he is certainly, when people say Fidel Castro, they don't go,
Latin American, but
they
Latin.
Don't go noted European revolutionary Fidel. So on that end, so I think that's where it gets problematic. It's not only just the DNA strain, it's the representation.
How about giving an actor a shot of Cuban descent who lives in America?
Or how about not booking James Franco for anything? Because James Franco, I'm sorry. I like James Franco. I think he's a good actor. But as far as I'm concerned, he has worn out his welcome. He's a predator, in my opinion. But he is paid. He is paid off people.
I haven't asked you this, so I'm going to ask you now and catch you off guard. I need to know, what do you think of the Deshaun Watson situation?
Oh, he needs to be banned for life. Are you kidding me? As
a woman, how do you feel about him getting like the big contract guaranteed?
Oh, it's bullshit. I don't follow football, as you know, it's absolute bullshit. If he worked at Carvel, they wouldn't even let him in the door. And he has it structured so that he got certain amount of money, right? Isn't the contract
million, right? $1 million this year, so it was really shady.
Really shady. And the NFL has
some people will say smart, and other people will be
creep. No, it's the act of a guilty person. You know what I mean? It's somebody who knows that they're going to get caught at some point. No, it's horrible what he did. The NFL, as we've discussed this.
My father told me as a cop when I was young, and he said, he's very young. He said, innocent people don't have anything to defend.
Right, exactly.
He said, let me tell you something about every innocent person when you're dealing with them. They're not defending something because they don't have something to defend.
Yeah.
And you can tell usually when somebody's giving you the truth and when you're questioning, because guilty people will try to put certain things in place a lot of times to protect themselves.
Right.
Innocent people are just telling you.
Innocent. They'll tell you exactly what happened.
Because they're innocent.
Yeah.
And when I look at him, and I really like Deshaun Watson, I did, but I'm looking at him saying, I don't know what happened. But that's a lot of women that you just that's a lot of women. And when people are saying they looked at the evidence and they're saying that it was predatory, that sounds really,
he's guilty.
I don't know. I'm like, so you're going to put him on the field and are women supposed to clap for him?
Women and men.
I know there was, but I'm just thinking because the NFL has a lot of female friends, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, what are you saying to 50% of your fans? What are you saying to them? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to reconcile what that is.
Because supposedly Roger Goodell, wants to suspend him, but he also handed it over to an independent arbitrator. Look, the NFL is horrible on domestic abuse, is horrible on domestic violence. They look the other way for these guys because they're good athletes, and this shouldn't have even gone to anything. It should have been like, you're gone. Nobody who breaks the law should be allowed a credible law. I'm not talking about somebody caught with weed. All right. Nobody who beats up their girlfriend or their boyfriend should be allowed to play sports. Boom. Ton off. Right. He's very talented, but no, horrible. I mean, it's actually disgusting. It's an insult, They'll do little PSAs about domestic violence, and then boo. Me no likey. And I don't even think we have to say like alleged anymore. At some point, it's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Right? I mean, like, how much alleged,
no, because here's the thing. He's never been convicted of a crime. 2 grand juries that refused to bring any charges. So most of these things were civil. He settled 23 out of the 24 cases.
That's a lot of like private. Guilt money, right?
And then the Houston Texans had to settle, his team, because the team evidently gave him an NDA, structured NDA form for him to give to women. So they were culpable. They settled, I believe, 30 cases and had to pay people. So, it's I have a lot of questions on both sides of this story. If I can be honest with you, I really, really do. But I'm looking at him like, I'm not ready to see you. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Just like when Will Smith did that apology, I was like, I'm still not ready to see you, actually.
Yeah, well, this guy is a criminal. So, like I said, I don't watch football. Right. I think I would never let my kid play football. It's Super Bowl fun. But this guy's guilty. I don't need to see the bruises on people's faces. Chris Brown is guilty. He should not be recording anymore. You beat up a woman, you shouldn't have a contract. That's it. It's really simple. I mean, you're beating up or a kid or anybody. If you're gay and you beat up your partner, you shouldn't. I mean, Hope Solo should no longer be allowed to do this. I mean, she's a mess too, So I say boo. Boo to that. Anyway. Anything else? Any other? Can I speak for women again? You know me. I'm gonna pretty much always side with the girls, listen, unless they're Republicans.
That's why I asked you to. I wanted to hear, because we've both been really disgusted by that whole situation, and we just did not even want to go there. But I was like, let me ask her what she actually thinks about this situation. I've been sitting back watching, thinking that it all feels quite tone deaf. When I hear everybody arguing about the amount of games he should be suspended, I keep thinking that, we don't have the real information, and the people who've seen the evidence are saying something really different. And I don't think you should have to see that, because there are real women involved here who are alive and well. And I think they're being treated as an afterthought in the circus of it all. But I digress. Anyway, listen, it is summer. It's the summer of dance, according to the press, even though, fun fact, kids, dance music never went away. House music never went away. House music artists and producers and DJs have been partying and making records and performing all over the world. So Amy and I decided, since we're taking a couple of weeks off, yes, kids, we will see you after Labor Day. Let's talk about some of our favorite dance records, older school, any kind, that I think people should listen to. And you can start.
Oh, well, I kind of took dance music in a very loose way, as opposed to music as opposed to music I like to dance to. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So the first one I did was Mothership Connection, Parliament, 1975, because like every time you put that album on, you dance. And if you don't dance, you don't get your ass off the dance floor and go do something else. So it's great. It's I guess the P-Funk Once to Get Funked Up, Tear the Roof Off the Sucker. That's the hit. But my favorite song on the album is Unfunky UFO. I love that song so much. But Parlership Connection. That's a weird Mothership Connection. And that's where you get the mother, it's like probably their best known record because that's when they would reunite. They had the mothership come down. But I used to listen to that record when I was in high school with my loser boyfriend. And we would watch Nick games on, what was it, Channel 9 or Channel 11, and turn the volume off and smoke weed and listen to Mothership Connection.
Nice.
So I love that record. So I haven't listened to it in a while, but I mean, that to me was like, you put that on and everybody was dancing. You, sir?
Well, I'm going to go with Queen of the Night, the album by the legend Lolita Holloway. Now, people know Lolita and they know that voice. She's one of the most sampled voices in dance music. The thing is, I don't think people realize Lolita Holloway was an album artist. She was not like just dropping singles. All of those songs you love come from Lolita Holloway albums. This album in particular is, this is classic, late disco, early house, Catch Me on the Rebound. I might not be there when you want me, but I'm right on time. Mama don't, Papa won't, good feeling. It's like that voice, her version of You Light Up My Life is on this album. Lolita Holloway is one of those artists to me that is unsung to the general public, but they all know her voice because it has been sampled so many times between Black Box and just every other kind of dance record.
Is she the woman?
I'm
sorry. Is that the Arthur? What's the famous Arthur? Not Wax the Van, but she's on an Arthur Russell track too, because I know she's Good Vibrations, right? Is that her? And Black Box?
No, that you're talking about Jocelyn Brown.
Thank
you.
Good
Vibration. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. But her voice is, Black Box. Yes, of course.
No, you will know Lolita Holloway. You know her songs. You know that voice. She sings Love Sensation. Sensation.
Yeah.
You know that voice.
Yeah.
But this is one of her albums, and it's a really good, old school, black. It reminds me of like all the stuff where Renaissance is coming from, that era. Better Days nightclub, tracks, Midtown 43, bitch. I want to know, when you guys hear this show, if you remember Midtown motherfucking 43, leave us a note on one of our social media. You know where you can find us on the Twitter at FinishIba, on Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish, on Instagram at ImmaLetYouFinish NY. You can leave a comment on ImmaLetYouFinish podcast on motherfucking Miss TikTok. I want to know if you remember Midtown 43. You are gay, Black, and of a certain age, because then you would have known Moi Renee, Miss Honey, and all of those tunes. And I want to cram another one in here.
I have another.
Yeah, I know. Hold on.
Yeah.
Mark Anthony. Like, we're not ending the show. Mark Anthony's first album. It's Mark Anthony and Louis Vega together called
Ride on the Rhythm.
When the night is over, and Ride on the Rhythm is on there. There's house music on. This was when Mark only did one dance album, and Tito Puente is on there, which is where he started performing with Tito. Is he switched over to salsa and just really blew up. But his first album is a freestyle and house music and Latin music album.
Very good
and
record.
It's so good. And no one ever talks about that record anymore. But if you want to
if
you want to throw back to a moment in New York and what New York clubs felt like, put that album on.
No, Mark Anthony was great. Mark Anthony was the guide. He used to do like the demos,
guide vocals for a lot.
For TKAA, for a lot of people.
A lot of house music artists. He was also the session singer singing backgrounds on so many of those early Masters at Work records and India records. Yeah, he was the man.
He's one of my, I sometimes think, the 5 great voices in contemporary music, and he is definitely up there in the great voices.
Yeah, he can really
sing. Yeah, he can all right, so I'm going to pick ESG. And it's weird because okay, so they had like an EP that came out in 1981, which had Moody, You're No Good, and UFO. But then their album actually came out about 2 years later. And what's interesting about
Bill Coleman worked on that was one on Powwow, right? When it came out.
It's on well, it was Factory Records and 99 Records.
Gotcha.
The Powwow one may have been later, but so everyone thought because they had signed with Martin Hannett, who was associated with Factory Records and with Magazine and groups like that, that they were British. They were not British. They were from the South Bronx. The ESG stands for Emerald, Sapphire, and Gold. They formed in 1978. They are the Scroggins sisters, and then their cousin Tito.
Well, you remember the gag, Miss Thing, when we saw them, and I was like, wait a minute. And I thought that the ESG, because I'd never seen them, was just like some producer unit that hired some vocalists. And you were like, no, that's them. They're sisters, and they're from the Bronx. And I was like, are you fucking kidding?
Well, that's not the original. I mean,
that
is like
the
two of them.
Right.
But ESG were sisters. They were very young. It's very rudimentary. It's very stripped down. It's very. You could not go to a club in New York City in the early '80s without hearing ESG.
Especially Moody.
I heard them the first time at the Mud Club. So that's the kind of range they had. They were playing clubs in the Bronx, and then they're playing hurrahs in the Mud Club to a very, very downtown scene. And then they were 99 Records. So 1981 is there, but I mean, Moody.
But there's something almost alternative about them in a way. It's really funk. And I get why they would play those kind of venues downtown, because their sound is so dope, but it didn't sound like anything else that was coming out around that time. It was very stripped
down. It was very stripped down. And at that time, you had the post-punk sound going on, which was a very bass-heavy, stripped-down sound. But UFO is one of the most sampled songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ever. So you know them. So I would just say that I've seen them 3 or 4 times. They continue to play. It is not the original group. It is still a Scroggins sister or two, but just phenomenal when you think about the fact. I mean, they were like, talk about DIY or DYI. I mean, they were kids. You know, they were kids. And so ESG, either the EP or their first album, it doesn't matter as long as you listen to them. I really love them a lot. And it's 40 years old, this stuff, and it sounds contemporary.
Right.
Nothing
it really
about
does.
it.
No, listen.
No.
I've never been out and Moody come on and everybody's
people
like,
don't lose their shit.
Yeah. That is the fucking shit.
And Nana Cherry did a great cover of it with Christian Falk. So they are really a foundational, unsung but not underappreciated. I mean, they really are a foundational act, and
still out there on the road. When Robin, it was so smart when Robin had them open for her. That was so smart.
Well, it says everything you need to know about Robin. Right. I mean, it says everything you need to know about Robin, that she may not be from New York. She may not be old enough to have remembered it, but she knows. And for her to give them that shine was, I thought, just a spectacular move. ESG, do you have another one? And then I
do.
More.
Do you remember back in the good old late 90s, early 2000s, when everybody was obsessed with compilations and there was compilation series? There was a compilation series called Back to Mine, and this one came out in the year 2000, and it is mixed by Everything But the Girls, Ben Watt, and it's just a really, really fierce selection of dance tunes, some hip-hop tunes. DJ Cam's on there, Slick Rick, Beth Orton, The Amanda Project, Carl Craig, The Roots, The Deadbeats, Donny Hathaway, and it is a full fucking moment. I love this series. There's also one with Morchiba that's really, really good. So they are really good summer listening. It's sexy, it's vibey, and you will be finding your full life in either the Back to Minds, either Morchiba or Everything But the Girl.
Well, DJ Kicks used to do those records, in Palm. All right, so my last one is not an album, but okay, so at my 40th birthday party, my friend Tom Terrell, the late Tom Terrell, I asked him to DJ. The party was held at Frank's. And he said, well, what do you want to hear? And I said, as far as I'm concerned, you can play Set It Off for 4 hours and I will be a very happy and drunk woman. Set It Off by Strafe. I mean, it's just you put it on. If you don't dance to that song, then you really desperately need to get psychiatric help or to see if your feet are working. First, see if you have functional feet. Strafe, who is, I don't want to say one hit wonder, but this is another song that is sampled to death. Brooklyn guy. Set It Off came in 1984. Electro kind of funk dance stuff. Every single time that song comes on, I want to dance. I lose myself on it. And then one day I'm walking down not one day I'm walking down Atlantic Avenue. I always walk down Atlantic Avenue. And he has like a little storefront there.
Nice.
And they sell like merch and stuff. And then I went inside and I met him, and he's kind of weird and kind of fabulous in his weirdness.
No, listen, that's
he's kind of like
shit.
this little funk hermit who lives in there. But he so anyway, if you've never heard Set It Off, it is on, when you say like basically every compilation, like every funk dance compilation.
It's one of those, you know how they say if you're only going to have one hit,
that's the hit to have.
Have one of those songs that you can eat off of for the rest of your fucking life, because there will always be somebody who will pay you to perform it if you want to sing it. It's a great
song. Yeah.
And there's somebody who's always going to use it in a sample, in a commercial, in a movie, in a something.
Yeah, no. It's like if lightning only struck once, it took down 100 buildings with it with this song. So yeah, so Strafe Set It Off. Okay, so we are.
Hold on, wait. I have two. Because I want to give people, I want to go from, this is the two. We're going to end on, well, actually three. We're going to end on everything that's kind of, I've been very Louis Vega sort of focused on this one, because I've been a real sort of going back to the days of being in the clubs and Masters at Work and Louis and Kenny and playing. And I would say that Louis Vega's 2004 album, Elements of Life, is still a fucking house music master. Still sounds great. And he has a record that came out this year called Expansions in the NYC. That's so the extended versions are so good, man. Joe Clausel is on there. Orgy Wheeler and Cindy Mizell. Robin's on there. Unlimited Touch. Karen Harding. Carrie Chandler. Honey Dijon. It is just like Lisa Fisher. You know what I'm saying? Bernard Fowler. Debbie Winans. Like, it is vocals, moment, house music, fierce. It's so fucking good. So if you want to dance right now, and tomorrow, well, when you're hearing this, on the 12th, Ultra Nate's new album, Ultra, is out. And it is a house music. It's just a full party, not a ballad on there. A party from start to finish. So, there's just a lot of good shit. And you guys now have a bunch to listen to. Because, there's nothing else really dropping this summer that y'all need to fucking hear. I know everybody's still spinning what they're spinning. So we need a break. We want ice cream. We want churros. We want to try to figure out what our mayor's doing while the city's on fire. And we want to get tans, and we want to go to the beach. And Amy wants to go back up to Connecticut or wherever. She goes someplace where there are like trees and birds and bad Wi-Fi.
But, and mosquitoes, and Amy got bitten alive. Alive, but it's worth it.
Right.
Alive.
But listen, it was worth it because you were like, I keep eating these. First of all, she keeps saying the ice cream is really amazing. Evidently, there's some ice cream shop that's really amazing with $6 Hot Fuzz Sundays, which is right up my alley.
And the women have a heavy pour. Let me tell you something. It's a heavy pour. Candace and I were looking and going, okay, we've basically just eaten a pint of a half of ice cream.
I love it. Right.
I know.
Love it.
All right. So everybody, please have a great end of summer. Have a great Labor Day. Try not to go near a monkey who has COVID, just to kill two birds at one stone.
And check us out, catch up on some of the episodes, and also check out a bunch of other shows on the Pantheon Podcast Network, because there's a lot there. And, it's summer. I'm sure you're at your house on the lake. The kids are driving you nuts. And you're like, I need a joint and to listen to Courtney and Amy and to Pantheon. So that's what you guys need to do. We will see you in September. Bye.
Bye.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.